So guys, all I have to do now is to go ahead and trim this out. So I'm going to go ahead, you see I added half an inch at the end here all the way to the shoulder, and then I stopped, and then I have my seam allowance here, and then half an inch at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'm going to trace it on a fabric that looks like this, two of it, one for each side, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys how we're going to trace out the one that is going to be overlapping it. So guys, this is what we have. Like the pattern we had, I just traced it out here. So, and then I folded it away to trace out the facing, because remember Akara is supposed to come out at the top of it. So let me remove it, so I'll show you guys how you're going to cut it out. So what you're going to do is your pattern paper, the way it is, if you open it up, you're going to go ahead on the shoulder, halfway through the shoulder, just rule a straight line down like this. You see this part of it, if you want to work with lining, I won't work with lining because my fabric is quite thick, so I'm not going to be using lining. But if you want to line yours, you're just going to need to cut out, you see this line that I made here, this piece here, this side, this inner one will be your lining, this outer one will be the facing with Akara, which I've already cut out like this, you understand? But remember, when you're going to cut yours, remember to add half an inch at the end of the Akara facing this way, and half an inch at the end of the lining facing towards this direction, so that when you want to join the two of them to form what it initially looked like, you have the seam allowance there, you understand? So just know that when you fold it into two like this, you're going to trace out this part of it on your fabric that you want to turn it over with, the Akara fabric, which is what I have right now, with half an inch at the center part. And then when you turn it over this direction to trace out this smaller piece, you're tracing it on the lining, which will have also half an inch towards this direction. So now all I have to do is just to take my pattern. Now I'm going to go ahead and join it. So what I'm going to do is open it up like this, right? So I'm going to, remember we already have the seam allowance added to the cloth, so all I have to do is the way it is now, I'm going to take this one here, and then I'm going to join it like this. So I'm going to use half an inch here to join it all the way. Just join it using half an inch on this end here, you know, right side facing, the right side facing each other. This is the right side of my clothes here, and then the right side of my Akara is this side. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it using half an inch all the way to the top here. So guys, once it's done, this is what we'll have here. You see the center part here, just like this. Let me open it so you guys can see. You see what we have, just like this. So let me turn it back again the way it was. So now the next step is going to be to go ahead and join these two parts together. So I'm going to take it the way it is now, hold it like this and join it together, starting from this center part, join the Akara part together and join this part together. So guys, you see, once you join it, this is what we'll have. Let me show you what we did here. So you see, we joined these two together by this center here like this. This is what we did. So if I close it up now, this is what we have here, just like this. You see, that will form our neckline, but we need to join the back panel. So let me bring my back panel. See how we are going to join it. You're just going to take the center back of the center back. You see, this is my back panel here. So I'm just going to take it the way it is now, notch the shoulder here so that I'll know where the center of the back neckline is. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it all the way to the top here, and then I'm going to join it to where this notch is. So let me turn it around. You see the way it is now. I'm going to join it to where this seam is, this center seam of where I joined it together. I'm going to take the notch of my shoulder so that way I can distribute this better. So I'm going to take the notch of my shoulder. So I'm going to take the notch of my neckline at the back, place it there, and then I'm going to sew it all the way, this whole side to this point, even going all the way to my shoulder, finish up that seam, and then this whole side, even all the way to the shoulder, finish up that seam. You understand? So guys, I went ahead and ripped up my seam and went in like 4 inches so that I can be able to put in this belt. So go ahead and make a belt that you can put in because you need it on this side of your clothes. So I went ahead and did that now. So I opened back up this seam here, insert my belt here, and then I went ahead and closed it back up again. You understand? So now that is done, but if you look at it, you see that I stopped half an inch before the end. You see? It's not all the way to the end here, so that I can be able to still join my skirt to the half an inch at the lower part here. This is one side of my top. So now the next thing I'm going to do is that once this side of my top now, this is what I have on it. You see, I went ahead and cut out a strip of fabric that's 3 inches of width and sewed it at the end of that curve that we had initially. But then I went back again to her video to look at it, and I found out that she doesn't have any darts. So that extra 1 inch of darts I had on this front panel that I notched here, that I'm going to use to add the darts for this front, because if you look at the upper part of the top, I added a dart. So now if I go to add this band, this skirt part now on this side, it's going to be longer. So what I did was I went ahead and cut off that excess, right? I trimmed it off by at least 1 inch at the end and then curved it back again. So now instead of that 1 inch I stopped at the top here, I cut off the whole thing entirely. So my seam now goes all the way to the top. You understand? Remember, we came down 1 inch before we started the curve. So I cut off that extra 1 inch and then went all the way straight up. So now if I fold it back now and go to the waist of my skirt, everything is equal. So now I'm going to take it the way it is now, sew it all the way to the end like this. And then this side of my skirt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the glue, the white glue thing, that I'm going to iron it down in between here so that this fabric will not it will just lay flat like this. So I'm going to take it, put it in between here and iron it down on this side of my skirt. Remember, this is the skirt part. And then once it's done, the next thing I'm going to do is this other side now. Remember what we're dealing with it side by side. This other side now, I'm going to take this skirt part now and join it to it all the way to the point of the end here, right? And then remember, like I said, you're going to use 1 inch to fold the excess. So I'm going to stop where I need to stop. Wherever my top in front stops, wherever the upper body stops is where I'm going to stop my seam. At the edge here is where I'm going to stop my seam. That is including this fold, like the fold. So I'm going to cut off the excess, hem it, and then join it to the body. I can't cut it off from the side because the side already has the shape of my hip, like the curve from waist to hip, right? So it can't be done from here. It has to be reduced from the inner part, which is just straight all the way down. So I just need to cut off maybe 3 folds of this and then fold it like normal, like how you normally fold the end of your clothes. So let me go ahead and couple this, and then we'll come back, add our sleeve, and then close up the end of the cloth. So guys, this is what we are working with right now. You see the end of the belt came out from this side. I've joined this here. I'm seeing that this is poking out like this, so I might just go ahead and top stitch it a little here. You know, the seam from this part here, because it's in form of an angle, so it's pointing out here. So all I have to do is just tuck it in like this and just top stitch it a little, or just tuck it down with pin. That way it will look something like this instead of like this. So like put it up. So now the next thing we are going to deal with is just the sleeve, right? So we are using a basic sleeve here. So guys, just go ahead and cut a basic sleeve. You know how we already do that here. So let me just fold this into 2. So I have this for 2 sleeves. So guys, what I have here is my armhole divided by 2 plus 1.5. That's the width. And then from this point here, I'm going to rule a straight line from this point all the way to the top, and then find halfway through that, give it a curve below like this, and then a curve above. Come down here, put in my arm width, whatever it is, divided by 2. Let's say it's 7. And then I'm going to add my maybe 1 inch of sewing or 1.5 of sewing, mark it, and then I'm going to connect it all the way to this point here. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this out, and here. So now guys, once you do that now, if I cut out my sleeve now, I'm going to go ahead and join it. The length of the sleeve depends on you. Everything, both the sleeve and the seam allowance, I have 10 inches here as the length. So it depends on you what you want your length to be. Just whatever you want as the length, add 1.5 to it. Then the next thing is that once I put in my sleeve now, on as I'm closing the seam on this side now, I'll put in the second belt, right? So the second belt is going to come out from this side. That way it will meet up with this one here. So guys, my second belt, as I've like once I put in this sleeve now, if I cut it now and put in my sleeve on this side, my second belt, as I'm closing up my seam from my armhole all the way to the end here, my second belt is going to come on this before my waistline, right, on this point, so that when it comes out here, it's going to be tied to this side of this here, you see, just like this on this side. And then I'm going to close up the seam all the way to the end and hem the end of my clothes. So guys, this is what it looks like, right? So I've joined this side to this side, joined this to this side on the inside. But what I did is that I made this strap that is about 8 inches long. I attached it to the seam allowance on the inside here and on the other side too. So all I have to do is just to use this here to tie this, just very short strap here, just to hold it together. And then this one on the outer part is going to tie on the surface like this, just like this, you see. So this is what it looks like. And then you see the neckline. This is what I was saying, that coming to the end here, we just want it to overlap like this. It's not going to go like this, so it's going to just blend out all the way to this point. And then this is the color here. This part here, I can always go back in and use bias to run it over, or just sew it down the way it is. So that's basically it here. You see the bottom part of the dress. Guys, the pleat part, if you want, you can make yours tinier, because right now I'm looking at my own and I'm thinking maybe I could have made it smaller. But you know, with this tutorial, it's more like trying to see what works, and then I'll let you guys know. So that's basically how I made the dress. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share and subscribe. Bye.